Welcome. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore what I call the alchemy of adaptation, that fascinating and often challenging process of transforming a manuscript into a screenplay. Just as alchemists once sought to turn base metals into gold, screenwriters must take the raw material of a written work and transmute it into something entirely new, a visual, cinematic experience. We'll examine how this transformation happens, what gets preserved, what gets reimagined, and the crucial decisions that bridge the gap between the page and the screen. Now, here's a critical distinction we need to make. Adapting a written work is fundamentally different from writing an original screenplay from scratch. On the left, we have the words, dense, layered, rich with internal narrative and description. On the right, we have the pages, a visual medium with strict technical and narrative constraints. The arrow between them represents the real challenge. It's not about converting words to pages. It's about solving a completely different kind of problem. You're taking a story that was designed to live in the reader's imagination and translating it into a story that must be shown, not told. That's where the real alchemy of adaptation begins. Now we arrive at the core insight of adaptation. Prose and film are not just different mediums. They are fundamentally different environments for storytelling. On the left, prose lives inside the reader's imagination. It's driven by interiority and internal thought. Every reader constructs their own mental images from the words on the page. On the right, film lives in what you can see, hear, and feel in a shared room. It's driven by external, tangible action that everyone in the theater experiences together. This is the essential paradox. To adapt a story from prose to film, you cannot simply translate the words. Instead, your true task is to find the visual and emotional logic that exists underneath the text, the invisible architecture of meaning, and make it explicit. You must externalize the internal, visualize the invisible, and transform private imagination into shared cinematic experience. Here's where projects truly stall. Not in the writing phase where talented creators generate fresh ideas and compelling narratives, but in the translation phase, that critical space between manuscript and screenplay. This is the chasm. The friction doesn't stem from lacking writing talent. It emerges from the genuine difficulty of translating the internal, your vision, your voice, your intentions, into something external and actionable. It's about making the invisible visible, the imagined concrete, and that requires far more than just good writing skills. To uncover the visual and emotional logic of an adaptation, we must answer three essential directives. First, the action ring asks, what is the scene doing? This establishes the narrative movement. Second, the visual ring demands we determine what the camera needs to show. How do we make the invisible visible? And third, the subtext ring challenges us to identify what carries the emotional weight that prose conveys through interiority. Where these three rings intersect, we find the translated scene, the moment where action, visual storytelling, and emotional truth become one. This framework ensures we're not just depicting events, but capturing the soul of why those events matter. Now that you understand the deeper principles of adaptation, here's how to accelerate your actual translation into a screenplay. Rather than jumping straight into writing pages, extract the structural logic from your source material through three focused steps. First, strip the prose. Cut away the ornamental language to expose the skeleton of what actually happens. Second, identify the beats. Map out where the story breathes, where emotions land, where momentum shifts. Third, isolate the visuals. Think cinematically about what the audience will see, not what they'll read. This isn't busy work, it's quality control. Test this extracted logic against visual storytelling conventions before you write a single screenplay page. This preparation phase transforms adaptation from guesswork into architectural precision. So here's my final question for you. What is the hardest thing you've had to translate from the page? If you've ever worked on an adaptation, and this resonates with you, if you've wrestled with capturing something ineffable, something that lived in the reader's imagination, I want to hear about it. The alchemy of adaptation is a shared journey, and your experience matters. Like this presentation and comment forge, to join our community of screenwriters and filmmakers dedicated to this craft. Let's keep the conversation going.